Go.
Welcome to Conversation with Barbara.
Good morning, ladies. Thank you for joining Conversations with Barbara. Today, I want to have a conversation that I think it touched a lot of people in many different ways. And I just want you guys to share your different stories on how it has impacted you. So, the topic of this story is the father factor, different stories, and shared healing. So, Maggie, I want to start with you. Okay. Can you tell me how did you know that your father affect your sense of identity?
I there's a whole piece of me that's missing. Um, Psychologically, I didn't know who he was, so which means that I didn't know fully who I am. Health-wise, there are questions that I couldn't answer. So I think with the behavior-wise, it affected me. So it affected my life like totally.
So, Beverly, can you tell me a little bit about your childhood and the father figure that raised you?
Well, my childhood was pretty normal. When I say normal, from where I grew up, I can tell you that, we attended school, we attended church, I had chores. I was the oldest one left in the house, so I had to help my mother a lot with the younger siblings, and we just had a different set of rules. When the street lights came on, I had to be in the house, but there was no, my mother was married, but he did not raise us. There was no father figure there
Mm-hmm.
because when he was rarely there. So I was raised by my grandmother,
Mm-hmm.
my mother, my older sister, and a connection of friends and family friends that were connected to the women in my house. So it was pretty much matriarchal society. So we were raised by very strong women.
Mm-hmm. And Val, can you describe your relationship with your father growing up?
Um, First of all, I want to thank you for giving me the opportunity to tell my truth. My relationship with my father growing up, he was inactive, not very involved in my life physically and emotionally. However, I did know him. He would come around. He was a gift giver, would give gifts a lot of times, but that physical and emotional support was not there. Our relationship, I would say it was estranged and very disconnected. Um, Throughout my life, I can say he was a coaster, coasting in and out of life, showing up, gone for periods, and just not there. However, I know my father. I know he loved me, and I know this love because, like Beverly, my grandparents were very involved, and they, made sure that that foundation of love was there, knowing who my father is and that he loved me. So, yeah, relationship is really disconnected and inactive.
So, Maggie, I want to ask you, were there moments that you felt different from peers because of your situation?
Not really, because I grew up in a community of love. We had community back then. So I had good friends whose parents looked out for us. I was a member of a church that was around the corner, so I took part in various activities with the church. So with that community, you don't have time to feel awkward
Mm-hmm.
because the most important thing that a child can have is love. So growing up, no, I didn't feel different.
Okay, so Beverly, I want to ask you, how did it affect your relationship with men who raised you?
With men who raised me,
Mm-hmm.
well, back to my point, I didn't have a man that raised me. My father, my stepfather,
Mm-hmm.
which I thought was my father,
Right.
he didn't raise me. So We had uncles, we had different people in the community.
Mm-hmm.
So there were a lot of people, and I'm in the same community that she's from.
Mm-hmm.
We had neighbors, it was the church folk, different uncles, my grandmother's brothers, and she was one of 13. I never, for some reason, that didn't affect me, that he wasn't there.
Mm-hmm.
He would come and go, but it wasn't a good coming and going because he had a drinking problem.
Mm-hmm.
So I just sort of ignored that because there was so many other things going around with our community and our family, and they just kept us apart from that. So it didn't affect me.
Mm-hmm.
Not that part.
So, Val, how did emotional distance affect your confidence and self-worth?
Oh, well. My self-worth was affected because I did lack confidence in myself because not knowing that father figure to give you that identity, that strong identity, it had me thinking that a lot of things were my fault. It had me trying harder to establish relationships that were not worthy of being a relationship with me.
Mm-hmm.
So that emotional support is a real key part of building character, because when you don't have that, you can easily stray to the other side and start looking for things and other people that are just not there for you and that are not the right thing for you. So it definitely affected my self-confidence, and it had me struggling with trying to pursue relationships that were not worthy of even having.
So, Maggie, how did your mother or your family discuss your father?
They did.
Oh.
They did. That was not a topic that was brought up. She remarried, so her focus was on that husband. So no one. It was like there was no father.
So, Maggie, to you again, what emotions have been the hardest for you to process over the years?
I guess the feeling of abandonment, the feeling really, really poor self-esteem. And as Val said, also, trying to maintain relationships, doing more for people, doing more for men, choosing the wrong man, just total chaos. Because the father provides that blueprint of what you should look for and maybe what you should not look for. Depends on the father. But if you have no one there, and then if the person that you thought was going to be a father to you turns out to be your molester, you don't know. You're out on your own.
Mm-hmm.
You're out on your own trying to figure out who you can trust, who you can't trust, and not feeling good about yourself. I didn't feel good about myself. People didn't know that.
Mm-hmm. We have a funny way of masking and hiding things that we're really going
people never knew that that shyness was not, that I felt shy, that I felt not good enough. No one ever knew because I was outgoing and I was always doing things, but that was just a mask.
Okay, so Beverly,
Mm-hmm.
how did your experience influence your ability to trust others?
Well, with trust with me, I have to establish a bond with people
Mhm.
before I bring them into my fold.
Mm-hmm.
So I always felt like I'll trust you until you do something to make me mistrust you.
Mm-hmm.
Because you can't really judge a book by its cover.
Right.
And I'm kind of analytical. I want to get inside and see who you are. But when a person shows you who they are, that's who they are.
So how do you, this is still for you, Beverly, how do you define your father today?
Which one? My biological
Your
father?
biological father.
Well, first I had to find out who he was.
Mm-hmm.
Because my story is a little different.
Mm-hmm.
Now, the father that I thought was daddy, who I called daddy, I didn't like him. And he didn't like me. All my life I felt like, I would pray, how can I not like this man if he's my father?
Mm-hmm.
The father that I thought was my father.
Mm-hmm.
And that bothered me for a long time. And I'm thinking, I'm going to go to hell. No, I just felt like that.
Right.
Because he didn't like me. And he didn't bother nobody else in the house, but he would whip me because I had a mouth and I would say things. You coming in here drunk again. Now I'm a child.
Mm-hmm.
And I didn't grow up like that because I grew up where children should be seen and not heard. But
Yeah.
he just pissed me off.
Mm-hmm.
When he come home like that all the time. And so I had no respect for him due to, I had to say it was because he was drinking and my mother was kind of quiet. And I don't think she liked him either. But I'm just saying, he was there.
Mm-hmm.
And it was so many dynamics that I can't even get into it as a young person. But I would say something, and then he would come after me if he could catch me. And a couple times he did. And that was not good. But now my biological father, well, you haven't got to that point yet.
You can go ahead.
Oh, now my biological father was always in my life, but I didn't know he was my father. He was my godfather. My mother named him as my godfather. So I always knew this man.
As your godfather.
Yes. But he always introduced me as his daughter, but that don't mean anything because he just didn't say God. He just said, here's my daughter.
Mm-hmm.
Now mind you, my father's an older man. When I'm born, he's 50.
Mm-hmm.
My father was born in 1906. And my mother was 32 when I'm born. And my older sister is 11 years older than me. So I am the one, I was just different because with the timing that I came in, I had to speak my piece.
Right.
And that was not good. So when I found out who he was, that was hard for me. And I was mad. Because not at them, but they didn't tell me because they couldn't. They couldn't tell me. It would have been a problem. My mother's married to a crazy person.
Back then, that was a total different society than what we
Yes.
are now. Yeah.
And you could
There's
not.
a lot of stigma on
that.
Things that you don't tell
You don't.
outside of the house. You know what I'm saying?
And I'm pretty sure my grandmother knew.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And I'm pretty sure, but he knew. And from what I was told, he would come around to the house. My mother would take me to visit him. And he always was giving me, money and what have you. But my mother never told me. So when I found out, I was just in disbelief and confused. Like, well, then I had to think. As I got older, I understood why they didn't tell me.
Okay, so Beverly, this question is for you. What message would you share with daughters who have experienced the same thing?
Well, first of all, I will try to have them think about what it is that their journey, where are they going? And you cannot allow, but we do, allow a void in your family to stop you from doing what you need to do for yourself. Because we can't control what fathers do or mothers. We can't control that. But it does hurt when you don't have a father in your life. And the father is supposed to be supportive and loving and nurturing. But if that father has denied you, that's complicated. That's very complicated. And then so for yourself, you got to figure out how you're going to make that, how you're going to move along with that, how you're going to deal with relationships, all the things that we've talked about. It's because it's part of you. It's part of you.
Val, I have the same questions for you. What message would you share with daughters who have experienced the same thing as you?
The first thing I would say to daughters who've experienced fathers that are in their lives but are not present, not available, is to forgive them.
That's right.
Forgive them. First, forgive them. Don't be bitter. Pray for them and pray for yourself. And I say pray for them first because my father was a teenager when I was birthed. And I can only imagine that he didn't know how. And maybe fear jumped in. Not to give him a pass or an excuse, but prayer will change things. And so I would say to pray for these fathers who have not given you what you needed through the course of your life, who didn't show up. And then I would say to pray for yourself, that you don't stay stagnated in that area of unforgiveness and, well, my life would have been better if you would have done this, if you would only been here, if you loved me more, if you would only supported me more. Release yourself from all of this and go forward, like Beverly is saying. We have to find ways to maneuver through our lives when things have not been what they should have been or what we would have liked them to be, and we've been dealt a hand that nobody wants. Nobody wants this hand of an absent father. We all want a father. We all desire a father to be in our lives for one reason or another. And a father is important. As you know, we sit here today in unity, expressing how important it is for a father. But yet there's some people that try to cancel out the father. Oh, you don't need your father in your life. I reject that. You need a father. A father is necessary, very necessary. So pray, forgive yourself and your father, and then maneuver through the course of your life to make it as best as you can.
Okay, Maggie, same question for you.
I
What
think,
message would you
I think
share?
Valerie has said it all, but I totally agree that you can't let not having a father in your life stop you from being who God created you to be.
That's right.
That can't be a drawback from you pursuing your dreams, for you growing and standing. Yeah, that's pretty much what I have to say. You cannot let that stop you from being the person that God put you here to be.
Okay, so Val, this is for you. Have you had a conversation with him about your experience, your father?
I've talked with my father, and I was discussing that with the ladies on the panel. I've talked with him about my experience, and in our conversation, I never asked him, why didn't you do this, or why didn't you? We just talked about me and what things looked like for me. And in that talk, I could see in his eyes the regret and the sadness. Now, why he didn't do what he should have done or was necessary as a father, I don't know. But I could see that he was sad and regretted it. I also told him that I forgive you. I let him know while I had a chance. I forgive you, and I will not hold this against you any longer. And he did not say he was sorry right away, but when I came back home, he said, daughter, I'm sorry that I didn't do what I should have and could have done for you. And he said, I've always loved you. So that means a lot to me, for him to let me know that he loved me. And then just the opportunity for us to connect, and release one another. Yeah, so we had that conversation. It went well. And we have an excellent relationship now, very good. We talk to each other on the phone. I visit him. He doesn't travel much. He doesn't live in this area, but I do visit him when I get the opportunity, and we have a good time together. And for that, I'm thankful, because we do know that, we can't get back to yesterday's, but we can start over if the person is still here and we can connect and we're willing. So I'm grateful for that.
So Maggie, this question is for you. Has the absence of your father affected your friendships or your romantic relationships?
Yes. As I mentioned earlier, choosing the wrong man, putting myself in situations that I had no business being in. I preferred having and trusting gay male friends as opposed to trusting straight men. And I remember coming up saying, I'd rather have a gay friend than a man. And I would actually hang out with them. We go to shows, we do things together because I felt safe and I felt comfortable, because I didn't have to really open up or really put any effort into having any type of romantic relationship. The men that I did end up having relationships with, those that we would say were good, it seems like there was something about me that didn't sit well with them. And those that we might consider as bad that I was really pursuing, they probably saw something in me that they could use to their advantage. They saw that missing link, not at that time knowing it was that father figure, but they saw that they could, use and exploit. So it really affected a lot of relationships.
So Beverly, has this relationship affected your relationship with men?
The trust issue.
Right. That seems to be the common.
That's the common denominator.
Yeah.
But I've met a lot of good men that I didn't have relationships with, but I've met a lot of good fathers. I've seen it both ways, where they were nurturing and took care of their kids and all of that. Because I've been able to balance it out, but it does affect you. Because I didn't want a person to come in my life that was going to be like the father that was in my house. I was not going to deal with that at all. I've seen how that could. I just sort of brushed it off. Like, no, I could tell. I was like, no, not this. So I haven't had a lot of relationships per se. I was a single mother, a teen mother, and I had a son. And I think that changed my whole perception of how I needed to be, because I had to be an example for him.
Right.
So I think that, and it's a possibility, and I hadn't thought about it until I read your questions, that's why I was so protective over my son and wanting him to be a better man.
Right.
So I think I just sort of worked it around, because I had a responsibility. And I've always had a lot of responsibilities with my siblings, my parents, my grandparents. I was the one that would do stuff and get it done. So it does affect you, because you have to think about it. But like I said, I would see good men and I would see bad men. And then I had to make a choice.
So Beverly, when you found out about your biological father, did you try to get to know him on a different level as your father?
I did.
Okay.
He thought I knew.
Oh, okay.
A friend of mine told me this, that he was my father. And I'm thinking to myself, you must be kidding.
So
you don't know me.
So it's like everybody knew but you.
Well, apparently. Not everybody.
Right,
but this is
your aunts and.
But this is a person that I went out with, and he was hanging out. He went out with my dad to the racetrack. Well, my father. It's hard to say these people.
Right.
and they doing whatever they doing, and he told them. So when he brought me home, he said, I don't want to say his name, but
Right.
he told me, he said, you know that's your dad. I said, yes, my godfather. No, that's your real dad. I said, no, you know, you lost your mind. You don't know me. I'm just saying, you only met him one time because we all went to the racetrack together. But you know, they drinking and whatever and running their mouths. I got mad at him. And so then I'm in disbelief. Because this don't even make no sense. I'm 19 or 20 years old. Well, this don't even make no sense. And I always had a good relationship with him, but it changed. We had a relationship because he's my goddad. But it changed because, and he was so cool with it, he's like, well, you know how your mother is. She ain't gonna say nothing. And he was right. So I went to my mother. I could read her. She couldn't talk about it. She could not talk about it. She would have took it to her grave. We didn't talk about stuff like that.
Right. Not back then.
Nope. Nope. And I know it had a lot to do with a lot of things. And she didn't want her friends and her church members and all the stuff that she was involved in to know about this. And so that's the way it was. But I did write her a letter. And I said, I understand why this is happening, but I'm glad you two are my parents. She never responded. And I told him the same thing. So it was complicated. I'm a grown woman with a kid. And then he would come and stay with us sometime. And because he was old school, really old school. He didn't want my son to wash the dishes. He didn't want, boys don't do that. Come on here and sit down and look at the game. I said, when you leave, you're going to get back on the children. He was funny. I mean, he would come and he was like, okay, ain't no more liquor in here, I'm going home. That was my godfather.
Right.
But he was not abusive in any kind of way. He always looked at me in a way where he seemed to be proud of me. But he would say what he was going to say. He would say what he was going to say. If he didn't like my hair, he'd tell me. And I tell him, I said, this is my hair. No, I'm just saying we had that relationship. Right. And by him aging out toward the end, I was the one that had to be there toward the end of our lives. So I guess we had a good 20 years because he passed in his, I don't even know how old he was. He was older.
Right.
Because when I was born, you know, he was 50. And he died in 84. My mother died in 86. But I kept the secret.
Okay.
I kept the secret that was my dad. And when he walked me down the aisle, someone said, who's that man? They knew. I said, that's my godfather. She said,
Who is
I
that?
lied in the church.
Who was that? Somebody you went to school with?
Yep.
Okay,
But you know, and then when he passed, I put in an obituary in Washington Post that was my father. And then my mother, I said, if any of them people say anything to you, you haven't called me. And she was not good. And I understood that. I really understood it, but she would have took it
to her grave.
Yep.
So, Maggie, if you had the opportunity to meet your father today, what would you want him to know?
I would want him to know me, and I would want to know him. At this stage of my life, I don't have any why, where, or how comes. I would just like to be able to know him, to meet him, and to spend whatever time he and I have left enjoying a father and daughter relationship as best as possible. I'd like to meet if I had other siblings, cousins. You know, all of that is missing in my life.
Me too.
So, Val, what has helped you heal?
You know, I like to say what has helped me on a total healing journey was my grandmother in the beginning of all of this disconnect and not being available. She, I had a real good, close relationship with my grandmother. And sometimes when I was frustrated, I would say, my dad, this and that, and he should do better, talking from a child's perspective. And she would say, child, don't talk about your parents.
Mm-hmm.
She said, love and honor and respect your parents. And at that point, she taught me the 23rd Psalm. And she would have me to read it, to recite it, to pray it. And so I would say what has helped me to heal is walking very closely with the Lord. I mean, because when you think about life is challenging all by itself.
Mm-hmm.
There's so many disappointments. People will come in your life and go. And you need to just cling onto the Lord. And that's what I have done. I have prayed, I have read scriptures, and when I want to get in my own way, I go back to that 23rd Psalm that my grandmother started off reading at 8 years old
Mm-hmm.
and reciting it. So the Word of God has kept me on this journey. Now, I've also had some therapy time to talk to someone, because sometimes you need that.
Mm-hmm.
But most of all, it's been just my close walk with the Lord and knowing that these are things that I can't control. I have no control over it, but I can continue if I just keep my hand in the Lord's hand and not become totally unraveled. Just be at peace.
Right.
And so that's what has helped me heal on this journey.
So this question is for you too, Val. Do you believe that emotional absence can be as impactful as physical absence, and why?
Oh, definitely. Emotional and physical is very impactful because it's all very traumatizing. Very traumatizing not to know, not to spend time with the person, not to know who you really are. And in Maggie's case, she doesn't know her father, but even when you know your father and you don't have any quality time, you don't know him.
Right.
You don't know, one of the things I used to say, I don't even know what kind of ice cream he likes when I was a kid. What's his favorite ice cream? So these are emotional things that get into your mind. Who is this person? What would he like for me to do with my life? What has he done? So it's very traumatizing, and it makes you think that you want to make a difference. It makes you think that sometimes things that are out of your control is your fault. Oh well, maybe he wanted a son instead of a daughter. I showed up as a daughter. So it's very impactful. It has a great impact on you not having the physical and the emotional support.
Okay, this question is for each of you. So, what would you tell your younger self?
Stay out of trouble. I think that I would tell my younger self to stay connected to the folks that I grew up with. When I left Southeast, I left a community and went into a lot of chaos. Stopped going to church, did not have the same connections such as, Beverly and all the folks that I had known forever. So I would tell my younger self to stay connected, stay grounded, and, stay out of harm's way. Because we know if you grew up in the church, if you grew up in a community, you know who you should be around. One of the problems I faced when moving was, as I said, nobody ever knew I was shy. Nobody ever knew that I didn't feel good about myself. So I'm going into a whole new environment, not knowing anyone, and getting mixed up, as they say, in the wrong crowd.
Mm-hmm.
I had no one to tell me, that stuff. My mother's husband was not a father to me. And I think that one thing that fathers provide is a buffer and they sit you down. The ones that I know and have heard of, they set you down. They set their daughters and their sons down and teach them, really teach them right from wrong. Nobody ever set me down and taught me right from wrong. Thank God I grew up in the church. Thank God for my grandmother. But a lot of things I learned on instinct. So I would just tell my younger self to have stayed connected, stayed in church, stay with God.
Beverly?
Well, I say just keep it moving. That's what I would tell my younger self.
Mm-hmm.
And I think it's because I had so many responsibilities and so many different things that I had to do. I really didn't spend a lot of time on worrying about those voids because I had too much to do and it would have blocked my blessings. So I had to keep going. But I understand what both of you all are saying because when you get the noise out of your head and the negativity, there were things that I needed to do. I had to stay on purpose. And just like what you said, when you have these people around you, neighbors, community, because we had a tight community.
Yes.
We didn't know what was going on in everybody's house, but when we came out, we gathered around each other. If you go up the street and you do something bad, the neighbor sitting on the porch gonna tell your mama and them. As soon as you get home, we had that. We had that. Yeah, you in trouble. So that helped us. But I kept it moving. I would say that keep it moving, and even now, I gotta keep it moving.
Okay, Val, same question.
I would say to be honest and truthful with yourself. To love yourself, to not neglect yourself, to stay grounded and rooted. And as Maggie says, keep your connections. I have a friend that I met at 11 years old, and we're still friends to this day, hanging out. And she has been, she may not know it, I told her in many ways, but she has been that anchor, that support system. She has loved me through the rough periods when she didn't even know I was going through something. And so, sometimes, when you have this trauma and this devastation with not having the father, you disconnect from a lot. But you need to stay plugged in, and stay plugged into the Lord too. But you need a support system, even if it's one person. And this person has been my support system, and it's been good, so be honest with yourself and walk in your truth and love yourself. And don't, I would also say, don't try to overly indulge with people. I don't know about the other ladies, but I have in some times in my life tried to just overindulge because of that missing piece. Wanting to hold on to this person. No, don't do that. Don't overindulge. It may not be what's for you. It may not be good for you. Seek what is good for you and then hold on to that and keep moving forward in your life. And that's the advice I would give my younger self.
Okay, so I got two more questions for each one of you. So, what does forgiveness mean to you, and has it played a role in your journey? Anyone can take it.
Honestly, it has not been forgiveness for my absent father, but I have to constantly try to forgive my mother. For not telling me who my father is, for allowing certain situations to happen to me coming up in my teens. So I always say that I forgive her, but I don't think I really have. My intention was to sit with her on my birthday 2 years ago. The last time we had a Sisters for Sisters event, and then with COVID. Anyway, I was going to sit with her at that time. And, to celebrate my birthday with her, buy her a cake like she used to have for me and everything. And just really sit there and look, Cheryl, what's up?
Miss Shirley.
Who is my father? What do you remember? I've been given a name. So my forgiveness has had to be more towards her. But forgiveness to me is just, forgiving that person, forgiving those who have done you wrong. Some you may want to still be around, and some you don't. And also, forgiving myself for a lot of things that I got myself into during some of the dark days in my life. So that's a constant, that's a process. Because those things can pop up like, was it my fault that this person did this to me? Knowing that I was a teenager and it really wasn't. But I was there and it happened and I allowed it to happen. So it's been a struggle with certain things.
Beverly?
I was just listening to Maggie. We called her Denise when we were coming up, so I get confused. Forgiveness. And I'm listening to all these situations and I know of more. But if you don't forgive, you can't heal.
Mm-hmm.
And then we don't know why they had to be that way. That's how I analyze my personal situation.
Mm-hmm.
There were reasons, but we don't know them. Why they wouldn't tell us who our dads were, or why your dad, he was a teenager. He may have had a dad that didn't equip him.
Right.
This stuff goes back
Mm-hmm.
into history, and maybe we weren't ready to know the truth. I mean, when I think about it, maybe that timing wasn't good. It could have been worse than better. We just don't know. When you go all the way back into these family situations and circumstances, and I used to say, well, maybe one of my cousins, his cousin, who knew about me, but I didn't know if anyone else knew about me. And she said to me, you really don't want to know this stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And so I'm saying I accepted it, but the person that I am, I'm always digging, I'm a researcher,
Right.
I'm a genealogist.
Mm-hmm.
I want to know. And then I have to deal with it. But that was many, many, many years ago. And she said, she just said, you don't want to know about this. And so I let it be. And a lot of things my father would not tell me. And so I said, the only thing that really kind of hurt me, because I didn't know his mother, they knew about me, was, he couldn't tell me certain things. Because he was probably ashamed or embarrassed about his own life. And I knew some of it.
Mm-hmm.
And he was not going to discuss that with me. So I forgave them. I forgave them for the secret.
Right.
But I know the circumstances, not specific, but the circumstances would not have benefited me.
So, Beverly, I guess I have another question too.
Mm-hmm.
So, do you have other siblings on?
Well, my mother.
Okay, so but not on your father.
Well, let me tell you what he said. And I think about this all the time, and I have to let that go. And it bothered me, and for a person to not, he said, you're the only one I acknowledge. I didn't like that.
Okay.
I did not like that at all. Because there might be other children out there, well, not children.
Right, but
Right.
yeah, other siblings.
And for a person who's running their mouth and talk all the time, couldn't even respond. Who would say that? Well, he did.
He may have.
He
thought
said
that
you're the
out of
only
love.
one. You're the only one I acknowledged.
He probably didn't realize how you would feel. He probably thought
Right.
you might
I
feel
was a-
like you were really loved, you know.
I was at a.
Or you felt special because
Right.
you're the only one that he acknowledged.
No, I didn't feel that way.
I know, but
No,
he
but
might
he
have
might-
thought
yeah,
by
he-
saying
yeah, he
that
might
was
have
making
thought-
you feel
He
special.
probably did because we communicate different. This man is way older than me,
Mm-hmm.
and he probably wasn't used to a person like. He probably used to more subservient women
Mm-hmm.
and do what you told. You know that because the timing. It's the timing. And I started digging. I knew he had been married before, and I said, well, maybe there's a child down there. But then I was afraid to look. I was afraid of what I would find out.
Right.
And I mean, it's just those kind of complications. Fear. Because I can find you. But then what do I do with it?
Right. Right.
That was
You
the
find
issue.
much better.
But I did forgive them because they didn't really. I'm the recipient of something
Mm-hmm.
that occurred. But it's just like with your situation, we don't know what was going on. Because we weren't here. You know, we don't know what was going on. You know, maybe your dad was married. We don't know. There are lots of situations. And it could have erupted into something not good. I know mine would have. No, but I'm just saying. So when you think about the whole spectrum, you have to think about, but it does affect us.
But you know what? I never looked at it like that. That there was circumstances of why they didn't reveal
Right.
the information that you needed. Who knows what?
Oh, yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
That's
I never
definitely
looked at it
the
at that point. I guess I'm just looking at it from your
How
side
she
and
feels.
right
It's
about
not
how it
feel.
made you
It's
feel.
not nice, but
Right.
one thing I learned when I was in treatment,
Mhm.
the one thing that helped me to work towards forgiving my mother is to know that she did the best they could. She
Mhm.
could at the time.
Mhm.
They all did the best that they could
Mhm.
at that particular
The
time.
time.
Yeah.
So I
Okay.
had to always look at it like that to help me get my mind.
But how do you feel now about Miss Shirley?
I mean, I always loved my mother,
I know that.
and I still look at her as having done the best that she could do.
That's right.
I've always been the daughter that if she needed something, I would always be there
Mm-hmm.
for her. But as far as having the same relationship as my sisters,
Mm-hmm.
we didn't have it.
Mm.
You know, we didn't have that.
Okay, Val. Same question.
Forgiveness looks like, for me, continuation. It's the everyday thing because, you know, you just have to reach back and forgive. And it helps you to release yourself, to not hold that bitterness in your heart, to not be downtrodden, to not have your mind all over the place. And when I think about our parents, mother and fathers, we don't know their situations. And so it's kind of hard for us, well, for me, I'll say for myself, to say, I'm so angry at you because you did ... and not knowing the challenges and the things that they face.
Right.
And like you said, Maggie, doing the best you can. Sometimes what they have given and what they have done is all that they could do at that time.
At that time.
You know, and so I think that when I forgive, I just have to reach down hard and forgive that person and release them as well as releasing myself. And then also know that if I mess up, I just want somebody to forgive me too, because
Yeah.
I'm gonna mess up.
Yeah.
You know, I'm
Yeah.
gonna mess up. I done messed up, you know.
Accountability.
You know, but not, you know, sometimes knowingly and sometimes unknowingly. So that forgiveness, we want it. So why not give it to the other person? You know, why not? And why would you keep yourself in that place where you don't move? You can't move forward without
No.
forgiveness. You stagnated in one
You
place.
stuck. You stuck.
You stuck in the
Yeah.
mud. You in the mud where you could been climbing the mountain, but you're in the mud because you holding on. You holding on so tight. Let it go and live.
Yeah.
And that's what I look like. That's what forgiveness looks like for me.
Mhm.
Letting it go and live and be free of it.
Yeah.
Oh.
Okay, so what do you hope that anybody that's listening or watching take away from your story? Let's start with you first, Val.
I hope whoever's listening and what they would take away from this story is to first love yourself and to not get yourself entangled in relationships looking for something that is not there, something that's fake. Because, we have a tendency of when you don't have what you think is the real thing, you go and you get this something and you say, this is it. And now you're in a whole nother windfall and a situation that's beyond your understanding. And then knowing that you're enough, whoever
That's
you
it.
are,
You are
and
enough.
whatever you are enough,
Enough.
just like you are. Because I'm getting a little spiritual here. God created you.
That's right.
And if he created you, you're okay just like that.
We're not mistakes.
Because he created you. No matter if your earthly father was there or your earthly mother, God created you with a purpose. And your purpose should be in him. So don't carry fault. Don't carry fault with yourself. Love God, and then know that you are enough. And whatever has transpired in your life is not your fault.
Amen.
That's good.
That's real good. I keep looking at that sign, and it's the secret of love is to open your heart.
That's good.
I just have, because I'm right there, and I keep looking at it, and I think that a lot of us, anger seems to, we're not equipped to sometimes love, and we need help. We need self-help. We need to do things that fix us. Whatever it is, whether your personal relationship with the Lord, therapy, meditation, there are all kinds of things. But surround yourself with people who are doing things that you would like to do. Motivate people. So hopefully, and it's a lot of young women out here that I see in a misdirection in my family, just young women who get angry quick. They get angry so quick. And I think that we have to rally around them. I have 4 granddaughters. So I'm always talking to them, and 1 grandson, and 1 great-grandson. So, and we don't always have the best relationships because I guess they think I wasn't born. I don't know nothing. I don't know nothing.
Things not the same like they used to be back then. That's what they.
But it's kind of scary.
Right.
Because they'll react to us. They don't think. It's
And I
like
think
tunnel vision, like a horse.
But I think
Blinders
some of it too is that a lot of them don't have patience.
That's
Yeah,
it. And they
that's true.
distracted.
Right.
Everything bores them
Quickly.
and sometimes each one of those children that I'm talking about, and they're grown, and I have to talk to them in the way they get it, the way they interpret it,
Right.
because
You gotta come
sometimes,
to their level.
which is definitely hard for me,
Right. Right.
because most times they texting me. I'll call you, they won't even answer the phone, but they'll text me, but the phone is right there. I mean, how do you communicate? I have to get them to open up. They have to trust me.
Yeah.
Because I wasn't born yesterday. I know what y'all doing. I get on Instagram and I see that stuff. Take it down. I mean, these are mine.
Right.
I said, because one thing I remember my grandmother and my mother them saying, you represent us. And whatever I'm out there doing, somebody going to come back and tell you. And we just was raised different.
Right.
No matter what was going on, there was still a covenant It was still a community, a structure, and it was okay that the neighbor knocked on the door. You see Beverly down there? You know, or whatever we were out there
But
doing.
your parents wanted the
Best for you,
best for you.
no matter what, because they may not have gotten. My mother was the only child, and she was like, my grandmother wouldn't let her go. Like, we lived with my grandmother forever. I'm like, can we move? Only because she was very disciplined. We couldn't do a lot of things. We couldn't play cards. We couldn't do this. We couldn't do that. Don't suck your teeth. Don't roll your eyes. Don't do nothing. You're going to get it. So I was raised in but I was, rebellious. I guess that's the word. But not in a bad way. But I just wanted to see the world and see things. Because I remember when I had my first flight for my job, my grandmama said, if God wanted you to fly, he would have gave you wings. I mean, my grandmother was born in the late 1800s. And so I come from an old,
just thinking, because
family.
Everybody's grandmother probably.
And I was scared to death when I was on that plane. I was by myself. I just had to go to New York.
Just drive. They would want you just to drive.
I mean, it's just how we were raised. But now kids are doing everything. How do we get through to them? It's different. It's hard. But I see a lot of good ones too. I see a lot of good ones. But I think we just have to keep pushing and preaching and talking to them. Just don't give up.
Don't give up.
Don't give up.
That's it. Don't give
Don't
up.
give up.
Don't give up.
Maggie?
What was the question again?
You know what? I don't know.
What do you hope that someone that's listening, watching, will take away from your story?
I hope that they take away from all of our stories how we look today, how we are communicating with each other today, how we're being honest, and most of all, how we have moved through life to become the women that we are now, who are here to share our stories. Hope that you pull something out of it and know that no matter what your situation, God is with you.
Amen.
And you can keep moving. You can do good things. You know, sometimes it might not be easy, but it is possible. All things are possible with God.
That's good. Okay, ladies, I want to thank you for taking the time to share your story. If someone wanted to reach out to you through social media, what's a good way they can reach out to you if they want to know a little bit more about your story?
Actually, I would like for those I am working on an anthology of women who have experienced some of the same things that we have. So I'm looking for women to contribute a poem, a letter, an essay, or whatever they would like to their father, or feelings about not having their father around. And they can reach out to me at magbloss, MAGBLOS at AOL.com. Or with any questions to learn more about me, they can use that same email address.
Okay.
I'm thinking my email would be good.
Okay.
B as in boy, V as in Victor, Prin, PRIN at Verizon.net. Or reach out to me on Facebook.
Okay.
It's Beverly Prince.
Okay.
Yes, and you can reach me at cvaleria@aol.com or on Facebook, Val Henderson Green.
Okay. Well, thank you, ladies.
Well, thank you for allowing us to share our journey.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Every story is different, but every daughter deserves to be heard. Whether your father was absent, unknown, emotionally unavailable, or someone who you discovered later in life, your story matters. Healing is possible, and the past does not have to define your future. Thank you for joining us for another episode of Conversations with Barbara. Please like, share, and subscribe. Thank you.